So Bad Times at the El Royale, which is a strange movie, and I knew very little about it other than the poster and the trailer. And the trailer made it out to look like a kind of larky, sort of Tarantino-esque romp with a bunch of zany characters doing slightly sinister things. But anyway, so the story is, this is from Drew Goddard, who was the Cabin in the Woods director. And again, we have another tale of a mysterious building that isn't quite what it seems. It's set in a bi-state hotel straddling the border between California and Nevada. And it's dog end of the 60s. And during the sort of setup, we see a motley crew of characters all individually arriving at the hotel. The hotel itself was clearly once a grand affair. Now time has taken its toll. Things have changed. Its gambling license has gone. The whole bi-state part of it has sort of fallen away somewhat. Although there is still this line right up the middle, which gives you the sense that there are two different things happening at the same time. So this motley crew start to arrive. One of them is a vacuum cleaner salesman, played by John Hamm. Another is a singer, played by Cynthia Erivo. And we have a preacher with apparently slight memory problems, played by Jeff Bridges. They all arrive, they get to the hotel. At first, it's like the Overlook Hotel. They ring the bell, nobody comes, nobody's taking their bags, so they start to talk to each other about who's here and, what they all want to do. And then a femme fatale arrives, played by Dakota Johnson. And finally, Cynthia Erivo's character ends up banging on the wall of the office to see if they can get anyone to answer.
The lady's got a hotter hand than we do, Father. I am very sorry to keep you waiting.
Damn, boy, where you been? Waiting in this lobby so long I could use a shave. What's wrong with you?
I'm very sorry. What are you doing here, Father?
Do I know you, son?
No, but I mean, this is not a place for a priest, Father. You shouldn't be here.
We might need to work on your sales pitch, son. The El Royale, no place for a priest.
There are other hotels, Father. Maybe closer to Tahoe, I could help you find one. I'm sure you would be happier there.
Miles, is it? If this is not a place for a priest, Miles, then this is exactly where the Lord wants me.
Very soon, the El Royale starts to reveal itself to be, more than just a hotel. There are hidden secrets. Oh. There are, strange histories and weird goings on. And at first, it has the quality of a kind of stage play. The stage is set with this hotel lobby divided down the middle. And then the film starts to unfold, and it unfolds in this chaptered way that we get individual chapters that overlap and come back and forth with the same timescale. So we get to see the same event from different ways, very much like Pulp Fiction. And it would be easy enough to make the joke about it's, Bad Times at the El Royale with cheese. However, sorry, that was that's you. Are you okay? Fine.
It's very funny.
Oh, no, fine, thank you. You were laughing at my joke rather than suddenly spluttering. However, and I know that some critics have actually found this to be sort of, sub-Tarantino, and to compare it very badly to things like Pulp Fiction. Actually, I thought it was more than that. Firstly, I thought it had very little of the overt self-knowing flipness that some of the worst Tarantino has. As the drama sort of moves on, it moves into kind of slightly Manson-esque territory. And, we all know that Tarantino is doing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which peripherally, or perhaps not peripherally, deals with, with Manson. And I have to say the prospect of that makes me queasy in a way that this doesn't. And as I was watching this, I was starting to think, okay, this is working better than I thought it would, despite the fact that it looks like it's very derivative, and despite the fact that it looks like it's very knowing. What is it that I like about it? And I think what it comes down to is the strength of the performances. There is one scene in which there is a conversation between Jeff Bridges, who is, as I said, playing this priest, and his father, this reverend, and Cynthia Erivo, and they start just talking about life and what got them there. And I really started to engage with their characters. I really started to like their characters. I mean, she's absolutely brilliant. She has this, this sense that she's brought a lot of baggage with her to the hotel. And I enjoyed the scene so much that a little later on, when something surprising and shocking happened, I literally, in the cinema, in the preview screening, went, whoa! Like that. I jumped and I audibly made a noise that I was really embarrassed by, and I then spent the next 10 minutes attempting to pretend that it hadn't been me, that it was Nigel, who I was sitting next to. Because what that proved to me was that the film had, worked its spell, that it had presented me with two characters having a conversation. They're talking about one thing, but they're actually really talking about another thing. Maybe they are having the conversation you think they're having, or maybe they're both double-crossing each other, because one of the whole things about it is, what everyone's doing and how they're not really saying what they're actually doing. And then when this sudden surprise moment happened, I genuinely jumped. And I jumped more than I jumped in an alleged, jump shock movie like The Nun. And the reason I did was because the acting had really worked. The plot is very twisty. The plot is very contrived. It's like somebody shuffling a deck of cards, and you like the dexterous way in which they managed to do it. But the twistiness actually did keep me guessing up to a point, right to the very end. I mean, as everything was revealed and everything unravels, I kind of stayed with it. And there was never a point when I was bored, although, it's not a short film. I had gone in thinking I'm going to find this just sort of flippant and postmodern. And I know that some critics haven't liked it at all. I was told that apparently Robbie Collin, who I admire very greatly, and of this parish, is not a fan. I thought it was strange and unexpected and occasionally unwieldy, but genuinely seemed to me to have a kind of a culty heart. That it was a film that looked like the film that its makers set out to make. And I enjoyed it. It invited me into its corridors, and it had more substance than I thought. And that comes down to the performances. I mean, yes, it's an acting piece, and yes, one could argue that it's slightly theatrical. Also, it is a film, which is very wordy, very talky. But I liked it.